So tonight I'm talking to the pregnant mamas. I have never in my life thought that I would be talking about natural childbirth and what it has meant to me in my journey of getting there. And I guess I should back up by saying I never thought that I would deliver a baby naturally. I thought that people that did that were clinically insane, and why would you choose not to take drugs that could help you in that journey? So I have delivered a baby with an epidural and without, and in that journey I found that I love natural childbirth, which sounds really strange. And let me just say, I hate being pregnant, and I love being a mother. I love the miracle of birth and that I can be pregnant and all of that. I'm so blessed. But if I could choose the whole 9 months of pregnancy versus the actual birthing day, I would choose the birthing day. I just love it. And I don't know if any of you watching feel that way. Give me some hearts or even a hello if you do. But it's just become something that I used to fear, that I brought into my life, and because of Hypnobabies or hypnobirthing, as some of you may be familiar with that term, I was able to switch my thinking and realize that it was something that I didn't have to be fearful of. So I see a few of you have joined me. I would love it if you said hi, tell me where you're watching from, and we can kind of dive into this. And if you have a pregnant friend, or you know someone who has been thinking about natural childbirth, or if you just have questions about it in general, I would love to share with you, because I just think that it's something that the media makes it seem super scary, and maybe something that people who do it should be, I don't know. There's the whole mommy wars, you know, and I've done both sides, and I think both ways are great. And for me, in my experience, an epidural didn't take well for me. The epidural that I had didn't work the way that it was supposed to. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit more as I go into my story, but that was something that was really shed light on the experience for me, because I thought, oh, an epidural just works for everyone and it's fine, and why wouldn't you do that? So it wasn't until I delivered my first child that I realized, oh, epidurals don't always work, and sometimes they leave you feeling really crummy, and sometimes it isn't the perfect answer for everyone. And I feel like, especially, so I'm in Utah, and from talking to mothers around the country, just with sharing my blog through the years and different things like that, it seems like different states will have expectations of what a mother should do. And I don't like that. I don't like that there's a should associated with what you should do. I think it should be very personal to what you want for your own birth, and to empower you as a woman and a mother to know what would be the best solution for you. And all of the women in my family do epidurals, and they love them, and they work super well for them, and I think that's awesome. More power to you. If it had worked super well for me, I probably would have never gone down the journey of trying natural labor at all. So for those of you who are tuning in, I would love to hear, did you go with an epidural? Did you go natural? And what was your experience? I feel like so often we as women love to share our birth stories, which is very empowering. But for me, when I was considering going natural, it wasn't often that I heard people supporting that idea. So I will just kind of dive into my experience, and please feel free to pop in or say where you're from, because I see that we have people with us, so I'd love to hear where you're from, or even Mother's Day is coming up. I'd love to hear how many kids you have. So I am a mother of 4. My first delivery, I went the epidural route, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. My second pregnancy and delivery, I had planned to do an epidural, and it didn't happen because she was born on New Year's Eve, and the doctor couldn't get to me soon enough. Katie has 2 boys. Oh, boys. Boys are so fun. So I have 3 boys and a girl. And then my last 2 babies, I prepped going natural, because I had been down that path of having not been prepared and delivering naturally, and then having prepared. And can I just tell you, it is like an insane difference of what my experience has been like. So the very first time I had a baby, I was 24, and I got what they call, oh my gosh, the word just totally, I was preeclamptic. There it is. So I was preeclamptic with my first baby. So important to be prepped either way. I wish I'd been more with Oliver and almost had to have him natural. Yes. That is actually something that I think a lot of women may not think about, is whether you're deciding to go the medical route or the medicine route or going natural. It's good to have an idea of what the situation could be either way, and to maybe have some coping mechanisms or ideas of what you can do to help the process while you're in labor. Because I've read a lot of birth stories where women may have been planning to do an epidural and then they end up having a C-section, or someone who may be planning to go natural, but then they have to go the route of an epidural or a C-section. But because they prepared with Hypnobabies or a process of going through those motions of dealing with labor pains, they were able to cope with it better and just understand that things were going to be the way they were, and you could just cope with it and keep your body calm and just accept what comes. And I think that that is so strong. Hi, Mackenzie. Mackenzie just had a sweet little baby. Oh, she's so cute. So backing up a little bit, I want to talk about fear and what fear can mean with delivering a baby. So the number one thing that I learned about going natural in the whole process of delivering a baby, and this goes across the board, whether you're doing an epidural or whether you're doing or whether you're going natural, is to allow yourself to trust the process of birth. And so Leslie says, I had an epidural, it only worked for 30 minutes and on my right side only, and it was the worst pain ever, but I didn't know what to expect. It was my first. I was so scared. Yes, Leslie, that is so similar to mine, because I just thought, I'll go in there, I'll do an epidural, everything will be fine, and turns out that the epidural didn't work well for me, and they tried to resubmit more medicine and kind of get me through that process a little bit more. But my body doesn't do well with anesthesia, is what I've learned through different things, even getting my wisdom teeth out, and again, trying to get an epidural with my second and just not having it take. So had I been prepared for that, especially with my second birth, I think I would have been a lot calmer. My best friend slept through her labor. Okay, Leslie, so I want to know what your friend did to feel that way, because that's what I'm talking about, is trusting your body to do what it's meant to do, and practicing Hypnobabies, because it does allow your mind to go to a place of rest and peace. And so that's kind of the whole concept. For those of you who haven't heard of hypnobirthing or Hypnobabies or what that is, it's actually training your mind and your body to trust the process of birth and practicing. It is a practice. It's like strengthening a muscle. You have to practice getting your body into that very restful, sleepful place that you trust your body to do what it's meant to do. So yes, people will actually sleep. They can actually sleep while they're in labor. And I promise you, before I had done this, I thought, they're out of their minds. Like, how does that even come close to being real life? Because we always see movies and television shows that show the most horrific situations of women in labor. And while that is true, that it can be extremely painful and people have different levels of pain tolerance, I totally get that, it doesn't mean that it can't be that way for some people. And so I think that that's part of the education that I want to share, because I'm so passionate about that. So she had an epidural, but I've had a cousin do natural twice and did the hypno and loved it. Okay, so epidurals, yes, you can sleep through that too. And with hypnobirthing, it's really, that's what I love about it, is that you can choose different routes. And the end game, obviously, is to have a beautiful child to hold, and it's all worth it. And I think more than anything, I just want to educate women and help them to understand that perhaps you could consider different routes and you don't have to do something a certain way, because